Thank you. The best churros in town, they use your chocolate to make your churro dip.
Yes.
And the Nobu, their bento box chocolate cakes, they use Verona too.
And
Best
Wynn is
chocolate.
our biggest customer.
Wow, is it?
Yes.
Wow, I didn't know
They
that.
get all our chocolate downstairs in their chocolate machines is Verona. Be a fan of chocolate and orange, but until you bite one of those, and believe it or not, I'm not a white chocolate fanatic, but the way they did the Bionda crisp.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. More of that. Thanks.
You would like, just as a little sample, in making our capo with the Chemex here.
Latte cappuccino.
Macchiato.
Yeah. Macchiato.
Thank you very much.
Oh, enjoy. Hi, good morning. How are you?
Straight ahead.
So sorry.
What's that? Everyone else? Anyone see one? Looking out here? Good. See what's behind. No, the whole crowd. Maybe. Couple more. Looking right here.
I'm gonna walk up. This is video, so feel free to interact and smile with the camera.
And last one, everyone straight ahead. Great smiles. Here we go. Hold.
The inaugural North America's 50 Best Restaurants Awards ceremony. Thank you all for joining us. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Erica Schechter, and I'm the Director of PR for 50 Best, the organization behind North America's 50 Best Restaurants. I will act as your host and moderator for today. We are delighted to be here in Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world and a culinary destination in its own right. This is a landmark moment. The very first year of North America's 50 Best Restaurants, and the first time we have created a dedicated restaurants ranking for this region. We hope everyone is excited for the big reveal tomorrow evening, where we will announce the list of North America's 50 best restaurants for the very first time. Firstly, let me introduce all of our speakers who are on the stage today, and then I will explain briefly how the press conference today will run. I am joined by William Drew, the Director of Content for North America's 50 Best Restaurants. Then we have the COO of Wynn Resorts North America, Mr. Brian Goldbrandt, representing Wynn Las Vegas, our esteemed host partner. We are also delighted to welcome the legendary French chef Eric Robert of the Bernadette in New York, a perennial star on the world's 50 Best Restaurants list, and one of the most respected voices in gastronomy. And joining us from California, Kyle and Katina Connaughton of Single Thread in Healdsburg, an extraordinary restaurant, farm, and inn that has earned international acclaim and a proud place within the world's 50 Best Restaurants family. A warm welcome to each of you, and thank you all so much for joining us today. In a moment, I'll ask William to say a few words, followed by Mr. Goldbrandt. I'll then ask our chef friends a few
teams and experiences that make North America one of the most exciting gastronomic regions in the world. For more than 20 years, 50 Best has recognised outstanding restaurants and chefs globally through the world's 50 Best Restaurants, as well as recently more regional rankings over the last decade or so, inspiring people to travel, explore, and discover. And with this launch, we are deepening our commitment to North America, giving it a stage of its own within the 50 Best family. Why are we here in Las Vegas? Because the city embodies energy, reinvention, and hospitality at the highest level.
50 Best is more than a ranking. It's a celebration of the human spirit, a testament to the power of hospitality, of welcoming and nurturing. It's about forging connections, fostering creativity, and rejoicing in moments that linger in the memory long after the plates are cleared. But what does it take to be the best? It takes skill, but also the audacity to dream. It's having the courage to pursue new flavors, techniques, and concepts that captivate hearts and minds. Creating a culture of teamwork and respect, and expressing talent with integrity and care. Connecting with diners on a deeper level, feeding the senses and surpassing expectations. It's about an unwavering commitment to excellence. So why not join us to experience the best?
Thank you, Will. To reiterate, we'll take questions once we've heard.
Recently, we opened and unveiled Pisces Bar in Seafair, our newest flagship restaurant overlooking Lake of Dreams. Pisces celebrates the elegance of the Mediterranean. I couldn't think of a more elegant place to enjoy a meal. We're also debuting this year Sartiano's, Alfred Portale, a world celebrated chef, who will also be here. This will be probably the end of this year, beginning of next year. When we look at all of our chefs in town, we're so thrilled to celebrate Chef Sarah Thompson of Casa Playa this year, recently named a James Beard Award finalist for Best Chef Southwest. Sarah has truly transformed Casa Playa into the most exciting coastal Mexican restaurant in the country. She has an in-house masa program. There are these two little ladies in the back of the kitchen that do nothing but make our tortillas from scratch. It is so cool to see, and they take such pride. And
it's really such an honor to always be a part of this in any form. And I will say, we were really excited to see that now that we're getting this whole North American chapter after many years watching, following Asia, and we're about to really turn the spotlight onto North America in particular, because there's so many great chefs across the US and Canada and Caribbean who also need their stories told in such a diversity of cuisine. And we're such a young country, a young cuisine culture compared, to all the amazing restaurants and cuisines around the world. So I think this is just a really amazing opportunity, and this week is going to be an amazing week to really share all of these amazing voices that
amazing chef and others who honor the hard work of the farm. I feel very, very grateful to be able to have a platform to bring agriculture to the stage and to illuminate it. So I get to speak for all of the farmers that allow us to do what it is that we do, because that's undeniably such an integral part of our industry. So I just feel gratitude.
Thank you, Kyle and Katina. Eric, moving on to you. Le Bernardin is one of the most iconic restaurants in America. You've mentored and inspired so many great chefs over the years. What advice would you share with the next generation of culinary talent in North America?
Thank you very much for, first of all, having me and for your question. Our industry is really blooming, and it's so many young talents that are coming in hospitality business. And when they come to the Bernardin, they have they come from different backgrounds, different experience, and I want to make sure that they are team players and they are going to be able to work together, and then we teach them.
Also, who you would like to direct your question to on the stage?
Would anyone like to give us a call? Yes, Hi there, I'm Abby Stone from Bon Appetit. So thrilled to be able to have you all share your insights with us today. As discussed, North America is a huge geographic place with a diverse point of view when it comes to food. But I'm curious, primarily for the chefs on the stage, are there any trends in particular that you're seeing kind of rise in North American cuisine, if you can call it that, that are particularly exciting to you?
Yeah, it is such a big and such a diverse place. I'm just watching, having been a chef and coming up in my career starting in Los Angeles in the early 90s and watching decades now of evolution of cuisine in America. And we left the country for many years and lived in Japan and in the UK, and then with the dream to always come back to Sonoma wine country. And we watched over the years, it kind of seemed at that time there were very few places for very serious chefs who wanted to cook really great food, and there was so much talk of like, hey, let's leave the country. I need to leave, or there's a handful of great chefs to go work for in this country who really sort of blazed the trail. And now
I see an evolution and changes. So it's a natural fusion of cultures that we starting to see, and that it's a smart fusion, not something just to have a shock value. It's such different cultures are working together, especially in big urban centers in America, obviously, in so many cities and all over the country. But we're starting to see the Japanese influence mixed with the Mexican influence, mixed with European influence, and it creates a new style. And that started many, many years ago, and on the beginning it was seen as kind of like a bit ridiculous and almost like killing a culture and creating globalization, but it is not. It's just normal. I mean, when you go to Japan a lot, I don't go as much, but when I come back from Japan, I'm like so inspired, and I learned so many techniques and so many flavors, and I saw so many different ingredients. Same when I go to Italy or Mexico or in Chile or in other countries. So I think this is something that is very important. Chefs and restaurateurs are also very engaged with their community, engaged for sustainability. So today, we all work thinking we are responsible for the future. So of course, our primary job is to create good meals and good experiences and make you happy and joyful. That's a fact. But then we're thinking, how can we make a difference? How can we make sure that the ocean is not overfished? How we can make sure that the land is not polluted? How we make sure that we're not spoiled?
Freelance contributor for Capital Leisure, Business Insider, and others. My question is, now that food systems and restaurants have become the destination of where people are traveling and their sole focus may be to come to one of your restaurants, how do you cope with the tremendous demand when a list like Thursday comes out? Certainly, the Cons, you have a gorgeous hotel, and Chef O'Terry, you have Tommy in the front of house managing these systems. But what advice would you have to restaurants that may be named to a list like this, and what to expect, and how do you balance the demand expectations for guests who may be traveling quite a distance to visit you?
We call that high-class problems. They're good ones to have. How do we manage so much demand? Yeah, I mean, we're in a very, very small town. As you know, you can visit us at 13,000 people, hour and a half north of San Francisco. So we don't have millions of people on our doorsteps, and really, any guest that's coming to our restaurant, we're very conscious of first they have to make the journey to where we are, and then the journey inside of the restaurant. Of course, we have a lot of local guests who are there enjoying as well, but most are coming and visiting. And I think, in terms of advice, I know that we take that very, seriously about how, the journey that they're doing and the expectations that they have. And so I think more than accolades and things like that, the conversation that we have internally is really about that guest who's coming tonight, that where they're coming from, and how can we create a really magical experience, for them, not only within our four walls and out on the farm as well, because guests have the ability to go take a farm tour, which we want them to do, encourage them to, because we want them to really experience where the food comes from. There is such a disconnect of where all of these amazing ingredients come from. So, we want to show everything that we do is about showing the hard work of the farmer and really grounding into these good food systems. But also within our region. So if a guest really is coming for that experience to dine with us, to stay and dine with us, what else can we be doing as Eric was saying, being a part of a community? If you're there, even if it's for a short period of time, how can we get you to visit other great businesses and wineries and tasting rooms and cafes and former single thread team members who have now opened their own places and really create that sense of community. Not only does that help support the larger community and businesses and agricultural community, it gives our guests a little bit more holistic view of where that place is, why we are where we are. So, going now, some of the chefs who are going to be honored, this week, who I think your question really is like, what's feeling that surge, maybe hopefully, that comes from this, because it's a really great, result, to have. And that is, to continue to just do what it is that you do. And I think it's like make it last, right? These moments, they kind of come and they're fleeting and they go. And the hallmark of a great restaurant, of any great experience, is always like, longevity, right? It's like we all have to be dedicated and committed to this over a very, very long period of time, not just what we're doing today or next week, but really building something sustainable for the future.
The core of what you're doing, you've got to stick with, because accolades and awards, as Carl said, they can come and go, but if you're there for a reason, you're obviously doing a great job. So our advice is always don't fundamentally change. You're there because people are respecting what you do. And keep focusing on the diner, the guest, and not on any awards. Those are a byproduct of doing today's job day in, day out.
David, it's actually an excellent question, and the three to my left don't have to worry about demand. I think they have endless demand. It's really how do you expand capacity, and how do you ensure that customer, that diner, has an amazing experience. When you look at Wynn Las Vegas, we have 20 restaurants. We have several that are at capacity. So what do you do, and how do you not disappoint someone that wants to dine at Delilah at 8 o'clock on Saturday night? We've added a late night menu so they can have a later experience, and we've extended the hours of the restaurant. We've also now added brunch on the weekends, so that if they can't get in Friday or Saturday night, at least we have an alternative for them to enjoy the experience. So as these restaurateurs are looking to how do they absolutely handle demand that's beyond capacity, sometimes you have to look at the problem differently so that you can satisfy as many people as you can, but with never compromising the experience what you're delivering. But I think it's an excellent question, because all of these chefs, if they don't already have too much capacity, are about to be there.
With the inception of the 50 Best, specific North America, it opens up the opportunity for a lot of restaurants to be recognized on a stage like this that would not normally. What kind of advice do you have for restaurateurs, chefs, to be able to get recognized and get their name out there when they haven't really had the opportunity before and don't really know how to do it?
I guess similar to the last question, the answer is don't go looking for recognition. Really focus on what you do, and we believe that the recognition will come to those that deserve it. Part of our job is to seek out, or for our voters to seek out places that are doing incredible dining experiences, whether they be high profile or not. Eventually, especially in the contemporary world of communication, quality will come out. People will find out about it because they're desperate to find something new and exciting always. So if it's good enough, it will usually receive the recognition. In the end, it may take time, but that's the advice. Rather than actively seeking the recognition, if they're focused on the day-to-day doing what they do and being the best possible version of the restaurant that it can be, and we believe that recognition will come in due course.
Yeah, I'd say as a chef and restaurateur, I just echo that 100%. You have to go, into it and really asking yourself, and having, I think what we always focus on is having a deep sense of why. Like, why are we doing it? Why are we doing this from a larger, perspective? Why do we farm like this? Why do we cook like this? Why do we manage like this? Why is your menu structured like this? Any of those things, and then you go down into smaller and smaller increments, and more sort of specific as to why that you're doing something, and then you can always answer that for your team, or someone asks you a question, but really to yourself about doing that. When you have a strong sense of what it is that you're doing, even if you're still figuring it out. By the way, I don't mean that it's like because you have a strong sense of why, that you have it all, you all have figured it out. You're making mistakes, you're learning, you're improving, you're growing, you're mentoring all the time. But to be really focused on what you're doing 99.9% of the time, which is just to take care of guests who are there to have an amazing time, and focusing on what their experience is. As William said, right, it's like that word, it gets out in the world that we live in now, right? That world can travel very, very fast. It used to take much longer for that, to get around, and you just have to be very true and authentic to who you are and what it is that you're doing, and the voice, that you have, and really thinking about the guest who's right in front of you, and taking care of them, and not really focus on anything else, and then things, as pointed out, will follow. And again, I think that's what's really amazing about this recognition. We're talking about very, very large geographic, areas here. As I was saying before, you have these amazing chefs and restaurants that are, they're not just in the big cities anymore, right? We're traveling all over the country. It's so excited to go to different cities and towns all over North America and all over the world to get that one thing that you can only get there, and it's so exciting. But it does take a little bit of time to sort of build that up. And so anything, I think, that gets recognition to these chefs who are doing amazing things and allows us to communicate about what that is positive. That's why we're sitting here, today. And just say from experience, we opened Single Thread with a very specific idea in mind of how Katina wanted to farm, how we wanted to cook, how we wanted to take care of guests. And after that first year, we won the One to Watch award, for 50 Best. And it's just, amazing. We use that very, very often. It's probably the most important thing that ever happened to us at Single Thread was to get the World's 50 Best One to Watch award, because it really opened up what we were doing to the world. It's a very proud moment, but we use that back internally with a lot of young chefs who are very ambitious, chefs to always hit the ground. And remember, we're here, every day we celebrate, the award, the accolade, and the next day, right, we're right back to it. Even that night, we're right back in there, and we're focused on the guest that's with us today.
I'll just add to that I think this is a really incredibly supportive community, and we all pride ourselves and feel a tremendous sense of responsibility in championing others. So we love to tell the stories of those who are really dedicated to what it is that they're doing, and doing something very inspiring. So I think the word gets out pretty quickly.
If you want to be recognized and known, you have to focus on your craft and not be distracted. And I always make this analogy, and I always say to the team, I'm like, Imagine you're an actor and you are on stage or on a movie set and you are thinking about the Oscar that you're going to win, potentially. Well, you're not going to play your role properly and you're not going to get the Oscar, you're not going to get anything. But it's the same in our industry. We have to remember why we are in our industry. It's because we like to serve, we like to create experiences, we love to cook. At least for myself in the kitchen, in the dining room, they love to host, and we cannot lose that passion that we have and be distracted by the awards. Awards will come only if we are doing the proper thing and living our passion. And I have a mantra for the team and myself, and that mantra says, be yourself, do the right thing, and then things arrive. And one last thing I'd like to say, because all of you are in the media, I think it's a bit important. It's important also to mention that having a good publicist.
Oh yeah, that was a given.
We need you to tell our stories as well. So thank you all for being here.
I think we have time for one more quick question. The lady on the left here.
Morning. My name is Isa Trujillo. I'm from Taiwan, Canada. This is a question for Mr. Drew specifically, based on Chef Pavel's comments about a healthy kitchen environment, kitchen workplace. I was wondering if that is one of the criteria for your army of anonymous judges, if they are to consider that in their propositions of what restaurants should be considered, and if so, how would they monitor it? How would they, consider it?
Very valid question. We don't have specific criteria for our voters. We simply ask them to vote for their best experiences. And the reason for that is that everyone's individual experience is different, everyone's taste is different, so we're not trying to lay down specific criteria. But what we do is encourage them to think about the restaurant experience as a whole and whether they feel it's a positive place to be and place to visit. Of course, we can't ask them to investigate what's going on behind the scenes and what are the practices of that restaurant. But we hope that when restaurants tell their story, whether it be in the dining room or through their publicists or whatever it may be, that the positive stories are coming out. And certainly we're seeing, as was alluded to, we're seeing much more of those stories coming to the fore, much more of the concerns about community, staff, sustainability in its widest sense. Those are much more central to restaurant stories than they were some time ago. So we hope that is reflected in the votes of our expert panels. We trust our 300 voters across North America to vote for great restaurants, and by great restaurants we mean restaurants that are playing a positive role in society as a whole, not just for the individual diner, but for society as a whole.
At the Encore Theater right here in Wynn Las Vegas. We can't wait to share this very first list with all of you. On behalf of 50 Best and Wynn Las Vegas, thank you all very much.
Of a regenerative farm in Jamaica, hear all about Quebec's wild landscape of produce, discover the power of collective action to transform food systems, learn about Haitian flavours, and find out the secrets of successfully transforming a historical neighbourhood restaurant, you are in the right place. Not only will you get to hear from our fantastic speakers today, you will also get to try some snacks and drinks from them as well. I'm Rachel Hogg, Senior Content Editor at 50 Best, and I have the absolute privilege of introducing our sessions today. As this is the first ever North America's 50 Best Restaurants, I realise that this is that a lot of you have been to 50 Best Talks. It's been running since 2014, so for more than a decade now, and over the years we have seen countless chefs, restaurateurs, sommeliers and bartenders take to the stage and dig into the hottest topics in gastronomy. Before we get started today, just a small amount of housekeeping. We would like to say a big thank you to our venue host and destination partner, Wynn Las Vegas, as well as all our great partners who you can see on the screens behind me. Led, of course, by our very good friends at San Pellegrino and Aquapana. You may have heard already, but we are celebrating a 20-year partnership with them this year. During the session today, we would encourage you to take photos and videos of all of our speakers talk and post them on all and any of your social media channels with the correct hashtags, please. That is hashtag 50BestTalks and hashtag North America's 50 Best. Now, let's introduce our first speaker. Lisa Binns is the co-founder of Stutch in the Bush, a plant-based culinary retreat on a sustainable farm in Jamaica. Alongside her husband Christopher, Lisa has created a soulful experience that blends bold Caribbean flavors with regenerative agriculture and a deep respect for the land. Her cooking is rooted in love and sustainability, offering guests a unique connection to nature. A passionate advocate for localism and conscious hospitality, the chef's work celebrates the richness of Jamaican foodways while challenging conventional ideas of luxury and wellness in gastronomy. Due to restrictions around non-US passport holders speaking on stage, Christopher will be supporting from the audience today. So let's welcome to the stage Lisa Binns.
Supposed to be looking at the screen. Good morning, everyone. It is with distinct pleasure to be in this space amongst many lovers and creators of good food. I'd like to thank 50 Best for the opportunity to share.
Our next speakers will be joining me on stage for a...
I was unknown. People were taking a chance on us. I was like, hey, we need people back in the door immediately. We're going to keep this name. And what really came with that was a ton of expectation, but just love. You know, we were really surprised about the people who came out to support just to be in this place again, and that meant so much to them. So for me, that name is special. You know, we're happy to carry it on. You know, and I probably now wouldn't give it up for the world, but 10 years ago, absolutely get rid of it.
And you spend so much of your life feeding other people.
I might casually mention in passing that, oh, you know that restaurant Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like it's for sale.
I thought it was a coffee shop. I knew nothing about it.
My closest friend lives next door, so we spent a ton of time in there just hanging out at the bar. And I was like, great, make the point, we're going to look at it. And I don't really know where that came from. We certainly weren't looking to buy a restaurant or open our own restaurant, but the words came out of my mouth and we went to look at it the next day. And, you know, I think it had been open since 1973. All right, I think it's lower in alcohol, but it is, so, you know. So the majority of the volume here is made up of fortified wines.
Thank you very much.
So it's the low ABV with the stronger and more profound flavors kind of coming through in smaller parts. So it's basically like the reversal of the classic Manhattan martini format.
Everyone's enjoying that. And of course, creativity can only thrive if the culture around it is healthy, and it feels like the restaurant industry is really rethinking what that means at the moment. So how are you shaping culture?
I think, I've been in this business for 20 years, and, for a long time, likely I'll say this, it encouraged bad behavior, and how you left the kitchen and what you did and what you did to relax, outside the kitchen or have fun. It was.
Now to our next session. Norman Cruz is a Canadian chef and pioneer of Quebecois cuisine, with more than 3 decades of convention-breaking cooking under his belt. His award-winning restaurant Toque opened in 1993 and revolutionized Canadian fine dining with its local meets global perspective. Le Priest spent his childhood in rural Quebec, where relying on seasonal ingredients and canning and preserving all those summer harvests for use throughout the long, cold winters weren't trends but a fact of life, and this has shaped his professional philosophy. Again, due to restrictions around non-US speakers presenting on the stage, Normand has created a video especially for this event. But before we see that, I'm going to ask Normand to please stand up and give everyone a wave. Normand Cruz, everybody.
Aujourd'hui, je devrais vous parler d'une Canadienne. Mais pour moi, c'est difficile parce que le Canada, c'est tellement grand. On part des Rocheuses jusque Terre-Neuve, la mer Atlantique, Pacifique, c'est grand. Alors moi, je suis né ici au Québec, c'est mon terroir, c'est mon territoire, c'est ma culture. Le Québec, c'est une province francophone et je préfère vous parler touché. Lorsque j'ai commencé l'école hôtelière, je suis arrivé à Québec, j'ai travaillé pour 2
Our mission is to connect, empower, and engage the community through education and providing access to fresh, free, healthy food, removing all stigma and leading respect, dignity, and health. I do want to start saying by just thanking 50 Best for being here and providing the platform and helping us amplify our impact. I also want to just reiterate how honored I am to be in this room and very excited because this is the room that's filled with people that already holds the power and on a daily basis impacts so many people through their work, through food, and by nourishing communities, bodies, and mind. So being able to be on this stage today means a lot, not just for myself, but our whole community and all the people that we represent today. So thank you. Started with food is power. And I think, as I mentioned, that's something most of us already know here, right? But I think the one thing that a lot of times is forgotten is that food is medicine, food is information, and unfortunately we live in a community and society right now that not everyone has the same access to food.
Good afternoon. Thank you to our organizers and sponsors. Standing here today at the World's 50 Best Awards in Las Vegas, a city that embodies reinvention and possibility, I'm reminded that the American dream isn't something you inherit. It's something you build, piece by piece, often through struggle, persistence, and community. My own dream took decades to come to life, and it all began with food. I grew up in New York City in the 80s and 90s. Graffiti-covered walls, boom boxes on the stoop, subways that rattled and screamed their own language. The city was loud, it was messy, it was alive. It didn't hand you anything, you had to move with it, hustle with it, earn your place. We roamed the streets with our constant companions, 40s and malt liquor. We jumped subway turnstiles like our own urban Olympic sport. Our need for help. I watched peers shape the city's culture in their own ways, whether through ice cream that became cult obsession and national brands, or small culturally diverse restaurants that made Portland feel bigger than it actually is. Portland taught me that innovation doesn't need polish. It just needs heart, community, and hustle. Con. It's been filled with a roasted banana cream, served with a little bit of peanut brittle, and filled with 100% Haitian cacao. We modernized it by making it gluten-free so everyone can enjoy it. Okay. This is my American dream too. That farmers, Haitian ingredients, Haitian workers, and Haitian flavors can be on the same stage as the most celebrated foods in the world. Con Coffee, Ranger, chocolate collabs, these aren't just businesses. They're proof that you can honor your past while creating something new for the future. That the American dream is not a straight line. It's a bridge between inclusion and resilience. Greatness happens. Thank you.
Yeah, it's